Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We know that many Oregonians are still recovering from the snow and ice storm that hit our state, and we want you to know that we're working hard through this storm and its aftermath to get their benefits to people as quickly as we can. Due to storm outages, our offices in Oregon City and Woodburn are temporarily closed. Many of our employees are also experiencing challenges dealing with power outages and more, but most of our employees are still able to telecommute. We anticipate any disruptions to our work to help people will be short-lived. We know that many Oregonians may not have access to internet as a result of the winter storm and won't be able to file their weekly claims online. For people filing for regular unemployment, extended benefits, and PEUC, we encourage them to use our automated claim phone line to file their weekly claim. The automated claim phone line cannot take PUA claims. People can also wait to see if their internet access is restored so they can file online as usual. As long as their claim is filed by this Saturday, there would be no disruption at all. If somebody is unable to file their claim for last week by Saturday, February 20th, they will need to restart their claim next week and backdate their claim, but they can still do that online. Our automated claim phone line recently added Russian, Vietnamese, and Mandarin language information. Previously, that phone line was only available in English and Spanish. The phone number for the automated claim line is 1-800-982-8920. As a reminder, people with language access needs can ask for free interpretation through our UI and POA hotlines and can also contact us by email at oed_languageaccess@oregon.gov or by calling Work Systems Language Hotline at 503-606-6969. With the winter storms, we have been getting asked about the possible availability of disaster unemployment assistance, or DOA, for people whose workplace is temporarily closed or who are not able to get to work because of the weather conditions. DOA benefits only become available if there is a particular type of presidential disaster declaration. While we do not know if there will be such a declaration, we are preparing now, including looking at what it will take to update our technology and other systems to implement DOA for these storms. If DOA does become available, we will let people know. It will be a big effort for us to get that program started, but we'll communicate as quickly as we're able. We know the storm has created a hardship for many people, and we're doing everything that we can to be ready for potential next steps. But as we saw during the wildfires in 2020, most people who are unemployed as a result of these winter storms are likely eligible for benefits under an existing program, and those people should go ahead and apply for benefits now. We're pleased to report that we have paid expired and exhausted PUA claims as we had hoped we would. Early in January, in addition to paying PEUC and FPUC benefits, we started paying PUA to people who had a remaining balance on their claim. Since January, we have paid a total of about $125 million in PUA benefits to about 59,000 people. Now that the changes to PEUC, FPUC, and PUA that were created by the Continued Assistance Act have been implemented, and Oregonians are seeing those benefits, we're now turning our attention to the new Mixed Earners Unemployment Compensation Program, or MEUC. Launching this brand new program will require significant programming, employee training, and other support work. Our hope is to have this program available to people by the end of March, and we'll keep people posted on our progress. We take our responsibility to safeguard the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund from fraudsters very seriously. We want to let you know that we've added another tool to help protect the UI Trust Fund so that the money is there to pay people the benefits they're eligible for. This tool will improve security in the identity verification process. We won't be telling much more than that because we don't want to help people defraud the system. We have also updated our website at unemployment.oregon.gov to make it even easier for people to find the form to report suspected fraud to us. You can just go to that website and search for fraud to find the form. Our next webinar is Thursday, February 25th at 1 p.m. We'll be discussing PUA employment and self-employment verification requirements, along with any updates we have about DOA if there are any. Simultaneous interpretation of the webinar will be available in Spanish, Vietnamese, Russian, and Mandarin. To register for the webinar or to view all of our past webinars, you can go to unemployment.oregon.gov/webinars. From March 15th of 2020 through February 17th of this year, the Employment Department has paid about $7.6 billion in benefits. Last week alone, we paid about $152 million to 185,000 people. We continue to see a high level of claims activity. During that same approximate time period, we've received just under 650,000 initial claims for regular unemployment benefits. Looking at the prior year, that equivalent number was only about 131,000. The PUA program continues to provide an essential safety net for people. Cumulatively, since the program began, we've paid just under 99,000 people about $612 million in PUA benefits. We're continuing to closely watch Congress in their efforts to pass stimulus legislation, and we're ready to begin work implementing any benefit program extensions and new programs they pass that are signed by the president. I'd like to thank our employees for all of their efforts to make sure our PUA and PUC extension programs are up and running, and all of the other work that we've been doing to help the people we know still desperately are relying upon unemployment benefits. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, now we are opening the lines to members of the media to ask questions. I'll call on you in the order you RSVP'd. Reminder, if you're joining by phone, make sure to hit *6 to unmute yourself. And if you're unable to get your question in, you can send it to oed_communications@oregon.gov. First up is Lindsay Nadrich with COIN, who I know her RSVP was tentative today due to weather. Is Lindsay on? Okay, next we have Nigel Jackwis with the Willamette Week. Is Nigel on the line? Okay, next we have Angelina Dixon with KVAL. Angelina Dixon with KVAL. Okay, Kate Davidson with OPB.
Hi, thanks for the question. Just one today. I had heard that fraud detection might sort of be the next frontier as we go through the sort of waves of focus at OED. And I was just curious if there have been any sort of increase in staffing of employees who would now be looking for fraud in the months ahead.
It's a great question, Kate. And yes, we're both doing additional hiring, and we have been doing additional hiring through the course of the pandemic for people specifically in our fraud prevention and detection unit. And then we also have a lot of other people that work in other areas that we've certainly been giving more information to help them identify potentially suspicious claims. So this unfortunately has been a bigger frontier during this pandemic than usual, and we have been spending a lot of time focusing on that. Unfortunately, we expect that it will be an ongoing focus for quite a period of time.
You know, I mean, I know you had the sort of adjudication goal early on for how much you would have to staff up by. Do you have a sense of how much the fraud staff has increased and how much you want to increase it by?
I don't have that in front of me. Part of it is not just adding people specifically to that unit, but also, as I mentioned, shifting some of the attention to being able to identify potentially suspicious claims earlier. But we're certainly adding people to do the in-depth investigations, to work in cooperation with law enforcement on criminal prosecutions, and to do a lot of the data analytics that is key to helping us prevent and to quickly find new fraud attacks.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Kate. Next is Mike Rogaway with the Oregonian.
Hey, David. The new mixed use program you're bringing on, do you have any sense of how many people that would reach? And could you describe the program broadly for me? Forgive me, I'm not familiar with it.
Sure, I can describe it probably more accurately than I can give you an estimate, because this is a really new program. This is designed for people who are getting benefits under regular unemployment or one of the regular unemployment extensions, but who also had some self-employment income. So we've heard people talk about hybrid workers, so people who most of their money has been from self-employment in the past, but they had enough earnings to have a really small unemployment insurance claim. The law requires us to pay them on that regular unemployment insurance claim. So the MEUC program provides that for people who had at least $5,000 in self-employment earnings, for the period of time covered by the program, they'll receive an extra $100 a week on top of their regular unemployment benefits and on top of the $300 FPUC program. In terms of how many people we think might get those benefits, it's really hard to project. Kind of like PUA, this is a whole new program with a new category of people. So we certainly know how many people applied for PUA, but a lot of those people weren't self-employed. So we're going to be looking at other states, and we'll have to look as we launch the program to get an idea of how many people might benefit from it.
If you were to guess, is this something that, has there been, or have you been hearing from potential claimants that this is something that's hanging out there that they've really missed? Or is this more likely to be a niche case, do you think?
It's not just a niche case. I mean, it certainly is for people that had some self-employment, but we had been hearing from pretty early on during PUA about how most of their money was from their self-employment efforts. And if it were to be based on their self-employment income, they might have a pretty significant weekly benefit amount of, $550 maybe. But because they had done some additional work in the recent past as a regular employee, they might be receiving just the minimum weekly benefit amount of $151 or $156. So for those people, this certainly will help. And we know that every bit helps people that are just trying to work with the economy being so difficult right now.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Next is Peter Wong with Pamplin Media.
Hi. I have a follow-up to Kate's question and also something I asked last week. Through your national association, are you aware in the pending congressional package, which is, right, I think, making its way through the House right now, of any additional identity security requirements of reporting for unemployment benefits? It seems like as soon as you get through one congressional enactment, the next one follows. So I know it's kind of a rolling battle with you, with the agency, but.
Sure. So we're looking closely at the legislation, and of course, everything can change before it's enacted. The legislation that we've seen moving forward does not have in it additional identity verification requirements. There were some additional requirements around that in the Continued Assistance Act. Oregon was already meeting what was required by that legislation, but we do continue to implement new fraud prevention and detection tools. Most of what we've seen in the legislation being considered now talks about extending the time periods and maybe adding some weeks or changing the dollars amounts of benefits. But we haven't seen, so far at least, proposals around a lot of the other types of additional programmatic requirements that may come later. There are also some additional resources provided in some of the bills to help states with handling the ongoing incredibly high workloads, including the workloads associated with preventing and detecting fraud.
All right. And my other one is also a guesstimate, but assuming the House votes on it next week, that doesn't leave much time. Of course, it still has to pass the Senate in the same form, or they have to agree on which form it goes to before it gets to the president. Looks like it's going to be coming down to the wire again, given that the current extension ends March 13. Is that correct?
I believe that it is. For most people, for some people, they can continue to get phase-out benefits into April, but for a lot of people, they will be facing that benefits cliff in mid-March.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Next, we have Dick Hughes with the Hughesisms.
Thank you very much. I have, I guess, a recurring question, but it's brought to light by talking to somebody who is on PUA, and he's a very bright person. I won't identify him further, but he's very confused. He'd gotten the letter in the mail saying his benefits had ended January 30th, so he stopped applying. I explained to him that he should still file, which he did, and he notified me today he got some payment today. But how do you reach those people who have not signed up for your email updates, who just get the hard copy letters? And is there any way to send out letters, either yet eliminate those letters that as you know, are problematic, or send out a second type of letter in any way that says, disregard the previous letter, here's the real deal?
Sure, and discontinuing the hard-coded notices um, isn't something that we can really do without slowing down our ability to keep implementing all the new benefit programs that we're focused on. We do outreach to people, so we're trying to send, kind of like you suggested, emails to people that explain what the situation is, certainly putting a lot of information up on our website through social media channels, for instance, to explain to people that even if their claim is reaching the 1 year mark and one of those automated notices is being sent, that for PUA that they should continue claiming because there are additional weeks available. So we are reaching out to them through those kind of public means, and certainly we appreciate the work that you all have done to help get word out about some of these things also, because we see that helping. The emails that we've been doing to people, we think are probably among the more effective tools, along with the website information. But we also know that it's not straightforward when there are so many different programs and getting different types of information.
Thank you. Just to follow up quickly, um, is the advice still to go ahead, for people to go ahead and keep filing, for people who don't know whether they're still eligible?
It is probably the safest overall advice. If someone isn't sure if they're eligible or not, is to keep filing. The worst that will happen is we will tell them that they're not eligible. But if, for instance, they think their claim might be expired, but they're not certain, they should keep filing the weekly claims. And certainly they can use the contact us form to ask us a question about their individual circumstances.